Hi, my name's Steve. I watch a whole lot of movies, and sometimes those movies aren't the length of other movies. Actually, there's a type of film called short films, and they're sadly and tragically neglected in our world. But if you look out, you might find some really great screenings, and usually they're in blocks. And that was the case for Cady McClain's new film, which was called The World
of Albert Fuh.
That's right, and it's not your directorial debut.
No, actually, this is my second short film.
And the first was?
The first was called Flip Fantasia.
Which, if I understand correctly, is not really anything like this film.
It's similar only in that it's a surreal type of story format, but other than that, it's very, very different.
I'll admit I didn't get to see the Flip Fantasia.
Oh yeah. Well, one of the things that's similar is that there's a man who falls in love with what is now an inanimate object. In Flip Fantasia, she's a dead girl, and in this film, this is a man who's fallen in love with a balloon. So.
What is it about that kind of romance that you gravitate towards?
I know, people asking me, what is this about? It's the object that cannot talk back, with a human being that cannot talk back. I think it's because it's a metaphor for our creativity. It's really about what we project upon to something. That's the life that we give it. And so we can have this relationship with something that maybe doesn't speak back to us, except how we're trying to make it speak back to us. And so that's the stories that I tell.
And in the case of Albert, what did he see in this balloon?
I think it was an opportunity for him to have, in a very short time, a controlled love affair. Because the balloon is going to, shrink down in size. It's going to deflate, and so death was imminent within 5 days, as opposed to, a lifetime or a sudden death. So he had control over the beginning, middle, and end in a way, and that allowed him to go through the love and loss and grieving process in a short amount of time, which sometimes when your heart breaks is when it's open again.
And I know as a writer it's kind of challenging. As we said, we're not dealing with this 90-minute window. You are dealing with it. Was that, in this case, a challenge for you, or was this a short film from the beginning and that's just how it played out?
It was absolutely a short film from the very beginning. That's how I wanted it to be. It ended up being 18 minutes, but in order to get into festivals I had to shorten it down to under 14, and that was really a big challenge. That was hard, but I think it moves along now. And that's the thing you learn, at least I learned, is that how important it's all about the story, and making sure that the audience understands the story and move that story along.
Yes, sir. So a little birdie told me that this is based on a true story that maybe you heard on an NPR.
Yes.
And I'm really curious about that, because that must be fascinating.
Yeah, you can actually look it up. Man who really falls in love with balloons, and his balloons are really big too, and he loves them, and he rubs them, and he holds them, and he loves the sound of them, the squeaking, the blowing up, the deflating. I heard it on the radio, and I thought, my God, that's so fascinating. What people fall in love with, what people find, turns their buttons, turns them on, pushes their buttons. And so I thought, well, let's explore that.
Can a guy like that, or a guy like Albert, ever pull off a relationship with a human being?
With the right one?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
There's a lid for every jar, as somebody says.
That's right. There's a significance to the name Albert and the personification of balloons in film. Do you know what it is?
No, what is it?
There's a film called The Red Balloon.
Yeah.
And it was directed by Albert.
Is that right?
Lamorisi, yeah.
I had no idea.
Oh, you didn't?
No.
Watching a film, I'm thinking about other movies that include balloons kind of personified or that play their own character. There's Billy's Balloon, which is a Don Hertzfeldt short, a really kind of violent animated comedy. There's, let's say, Up.
Oh yeah,
Pixar's Up.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you think maybe that your film might play into this balloon genre?
Absolutely. I'm right in there with other balloon films, for sure.
So you are mostly known for your
work on soap operas.
Which now, out of nowhere, you're suddenly this brilliant director. Is the directing ever going to take precedence in your career, or is this just something you're going to do for fun, or what?
I'm not really sure, to be honest with you. I did it out of, I've always wanted to. Of course, what I really want to do is direct.
That's what my shirt says.
It's absolutely true.
Yeah, it's all of us in Hollywood.
I studied directing in my early 20s. I really loved it, stage directing, and I thought it was really fascinating. But I had to make a living, and directing really wasn't a road that was, really open to me. I had to make money. I had family that I had to take care of. So many years later, the opportunity to experiment as a director in film became available. Certainly now that we have digital, it's a little less daunting. We're able to get access to equipment and people and pace of filmmaking now. It's just more accessible to everybody, so I thought I'd give it a go. And I've certainly done my share of studying storytelling, and that's and working in daytime, I have to say, really gives you a very big education in all the different aspects of storytelling, because you're working every day with the camera people, with the booms, with the production, with the editing, and so you're around it all the time. And so by being infused in it, I guess I got a pretty good living education. So I'm grateful for that.
So in a lot of ways, your daytime soap opera career plays into your. Do you think if you never did the soap opera career, how that might affect, and you went right into directing?
Wow, boy, that's like mind-boggling. I don't know what I do. You know, my dream back then was I was really in love with the shows at like PS 122 and Avantgarde Theater and Avantgarde Stage and art film and stuff like that. So that was stuff that I sort of pursued as a hobby, and so I guess if I had taken that track, I would, who knows, I'd be living in France and making microfilms, shown only to mice in caverns.
Is there somewhere in the depths of your, I don't know, collection or repertoire, is there some avant-garde Cady McClain films in cinema that you've been sitting on since film school?
Absolutely. Back in my 20s, I wrote a story called Mona 7 about a girl who switches out of her head into different kind of realities, and I did it as a performance art piece.
Oh, wow.
So that was going to be, or might still be, my third short film. The goal was to make 3 short films and then a feature. So that's still on the hot burner for the future.
What do you have the whole concept, and where are you on the feature?
I have a wonderful young writer that I'm working with, and his feature is about a man who's addicted to porn, and I really think it's an amazing story. I worked on it as an actor when he was in NYU doing readings of the piece, and hopefully we'll get to make it one of these days.
Aside from acting and directing, you have a book, I believe. Do you have one book?
Yes,
or
just one.
If you could tell me about it.
It's a memoir. I grew up in show business. I started as a child actor here in Los Angeles for about 10 years, and then I moved to New York, and I had a very crazy family, and it's about all of those sort of challenges and how I kind of got through them. Sometimes when you're forced to deal with really serious things when you're a kid, you start looking into religion really young and looking into like what it all means, what it's all about, and kind of pushes you through a very small, tight, like a strainer, and a whole bunch of stuff falls away, but what's left is, something pure, and so it's about that.
And are we ever going to see that kind of autobiographical content in your films or in a feature or a short?
It's highly possible, absolutely. I mean, these 2 shorts are very autobiographical in their way. I mean, I felt very lonely in New York City, and my creativity was kind of like my savior, what kind of kept me going, when dealing with the issue of death, because my mother was sick. She got cancer when I was 17 and died when I was 25, and so I just had this sort of oppressive, like, death, dying, from a really young age. And the first one, Flip Fantasia, is about a guy, dragging his dead girlfriend around New York City, refusing to, accept that she's dead. And so finally, at the end, he comes to some sort of acceptance. And it's the death of his youth, which is kind of part and parcel of dealing with death, because it's such a harsh reality. And certain innocences just sort of go away.
Yeah. Is there any way to see that?
Yeah, sure. I'll send you a link to it.
Oh, I'd love to check that. That sounds cool.
Yeah, thank you.
Now I'm officially a fan. What else? What can I expect to see in the immediate future?
In the immediate future, I'm going to be on The Young and the Restless.
I'm going to have to tune in. I'm going to have to get TV and tune into
playing
that.
Crazy Kelly. My character's going woo. So yeah, she's flying off the handle these days. So.
And we expect to see Kelly for a while.
For a little while, yeah. Hopefully the next 6 months for sure.
Okay. Hey, it sounds good. Is there anything else you'd like to add about your project, or why?
No, I'm just super grateful. I had wonderful lead actor Julian Elfer and a fantastic crew that I can't wait to work with again. And I'm just so grateful that people come to see these short films at the festivals, because it means so much to the community that supports this kind of creative experimentation and work. And so, thank you, festival goers.
Beautifully said. It was great talking to Cady McClain here. And hey, I'll see you next time.